I'm thankful that today the sun is shining, so much so I've put the roof over me so that I don't get a baldy burned bonds. Burned baldy bonds. Brock's bald baldy burned bonds. Whatever. Anyhow, have a look at this. Ooh, what a mess. This is the Paul Evans Raycor system for fuel polishing. That is the tool set that tells me that Ben is at work again, and Ben is got a torch. Yeah, we have got a torch. Are we on? No, hang on. On, right, good. Tells me that we have found the leak is in fact that whole plate there. So the rubber around that intake plate. And it has got nothing to do with that really janky system that I thought was really janky. So, Ben the Amazing has just nipped home to get a 5/16 spanner because, yeah, it's not 8, it's not 9, it's not quarter, it's not 3/8, it's 5/16, which I don't have. So he's going to go and get one of them. And all the rest of this stuff. So that is a suction pump that got us out of the dirt, got out of the bilge because it was. Sorry, I forgot to tell you. Yeah, there's two issues going on. We hadn't fixed the diesel in the bilges issue, and when I got back here, having had her over on had the boat like right over, had the spinnaker up, 7.5 knots, cruising. Oh, amazing, terrifying. Put it back down again. And then I just looked this morning and there's diesel down that hole there. So we sucked that out using that. No, not that. That! Now that system there is going to, it's really fast. It's like pumping out at 13.5 litres per minute, which when you've only got 10 litre canisters means fills up pretty darn quick. Can you encourage me by maybe liking and subscribing and sharing and maybe even donating? Here it is, out. Just have a little look at this, shall we? So when you cut a gasket for something this important and you get it wrong, don't just add a little bit and hope that your really flipping dodgy attempt will seal, because it does not. So at least we've located the real reason I've been getting diesel in the bilge. That's where it was coming out. We discovered by filling it to the top and waiting to see where it poured out, and then sucking it all out quickly with the magic machine. There it is. Incidentally, some of the diesel and water that was in the tank is a little less than clean. So I'm glad I'm doing this now rather than halfway around the country. So I spent a bit of time googling and messing around and faffing trying to find some new gaskets for that thing, and came across these guys, and they had an offcut that they have let me have because they're nice people and they support Parkinson's. Thank you, Rotec, Dave, Richard, the rest of the team there. You're amazing. Thank you. Right, back on the boat, cover up because it keeps raining, even though right now it's sunshiny and hot. And whilst this system here was fantastically quick, the Paul Evans filter system, the pump runs, as we said earlier, at 13 litres per minute, but there is actually a sign there on that it says maximum speed, however many gallons per hour, and then you work it down to 3 litres per minute. So, having whizzed everything through that filter far too fast, I am now doing the Ben Brooks hand pump method of out of this can here, out of that fuel can, through the Raycor system, through the pump actually, into this suction pump, and doing that at roughly 2.5 litres a year, because it's quick, but it will mean that my fuel is properly filtered and properly water separated. Have a look how pink this is. So I would have thought that that was meant to be a lot redder, but apparently the Marine 16, which I've been putting in, it does make it a little bit cloudy because it allows water to go into the fuel. Now the engine is running on this kind of like pink coloured diesel. I'm trying to decide whether or not I'm just going to throw away 80 quid's worth of fuel and just get 80 quid's worth of clean fuel. Probably going to do that, but I'm going to try this first and just see what it looks like. Well, there we go. That's the fuel sender cleaned up, and a new nitrile washer in there. Also a new gasket ready to be hole punched to go on there, and also cleaned up port there, ready to have a gasket made. The sun is still shining. This is still good. This is not over. I got so excited about fitting the whole new fuel gauge top thingamajigger bubble, I forgot to film everything. But here it is. Well, there we go. You can't see the gasket because it's obviously under there. But that, my friends, is, apart from very difficult to reach, about to get tightened down. Well, after filtering twice and letting it settle and all of that jazz, it never came clearer than this. So in actual fact, most of what I did was pointless. So I made a decision. 45 litres of fuel is going to get taken to the dump. I'm not sure, but I reckon it probably shouldn't look like that when it drips from that water filter. Nice. Well, I think this is worth showing you because that setup there is what was on there. It might be a good idea to clean it out because I thought that this was just grotty and dirty, but it turns out that it's yellow. So that is the dirty oil loaded up, sorry, the dirty fuel loaded up and in the back of the car. I'm running out of diesel in my car. Ironic, really. That's red anyway, so I couldn't put it in, could I? A real frustration is paying £1.83 for a litre of diesel to go in my car. Just thrown out a lot. Oh dear, we're back in the electric cupboard. But why's that, Richard? I'm back playing with wires because of a mismatch in calibration between the fuel sender and the fuel gauge reader. Basically, at about half full, the gauge says that I'm full. So what am I doing? I have a 262 ohm resistor, which I'm putting in parallel with these two wires. There you have it, 262 ohm resistor. I wanted 270, but that's what I got. In parallel with these two, which come from the fuel sender. So now the fuel tank is empty and I see that, which is pretty good. I've got my crew with me. This is Blackbeard. No idea who this is. And of course this is Captain Pugwash. Right, well, it's looking a lot tidier than it was up there. And indeed, down here. But now it's time to play fuel gauges. That is now reading above 0. That's nice and clean, isn't it? Probably could do with tidying that up a bit. The idea is now I'm going to put in about 5 litres and then see what the dial says downstairs. Hopefully 5 litres into the tank, not onto the floor. This is a 10 litre container. The gauge has not moved. I'm not surprised. I am not surprised at all. Right, well that's 10 litres. Oh, maybe it's gone up a bit. It might have gone up. Or I drew the line in the wrong place. Or the gauge is not working. Hooray! 15 litres. And it's definitely working. All right. And now we have a conundrum, because this gauge with 40 litres in is only at 3/4. So is it true that 4 of those 10 litre canisters should fill the tank, or is the book wrong? I don't know. Let's see what sailboat data says. Well, clearly that says 11 gallons, 42 litres. So what do? Do I put more in? Well, yes, of course I do. But I listen for it coming up the spout. I think the colour change from there to there, that is where the fuel level is right now. And the fuel gauge hasn't moved. So in conclusion, and a bit of head scratching, I think the gauge, which doesn't go all the way to the bottom, also doesn't go all the way up to the top. Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's jammed on the side of the tank, because it was at a bit of a kooky angle. Boom. A little bit more fettling and faffing. That's a full tank, and that's as close as I could get it. Now that's the right colour fuel. That runs on a different type of diesel engine. Well done for watching all the way through. I'm actually on the train now heading to London for some work that was pre-booked before I started this adventure, and I was supposed to be in Padstow, leave the boat there for a week and commence next Saturday. Instead what I'll be doing is restarting next Saturday from Plymouth. Please join us on the search for a cure. Do go to that link, gofund.me/hall.moon.turn, and help us bump that donation up above 2,832 that it currently sits at. Thank you very, very much to everybody that has made a donation so far. Let's work towards this £10,000 goal so that we can find a cure for Parkinson's, hopefully.